हजार बार जमाना इधर से गुजरा है, नई नई सी है कुछ तेरी राह गुजर फिर भी। हजार बार जमाना इधर से गुजरा है, नई नई सी है कुछ तेरी रह गुजर फिर भी। Welcome to the 75th Sheetal Nath Conversations show, which is being held on weekends on every Sunday at 7 p.m. at dusk time, IST, 7 p.m. IST. And today we are broadcasting on this, wonderful August Sunday of the last month of the year 2022. And this Sunday, certainly we are in the grip of the chill of the winter, and I certainly feel that you people, all of you, must be enjoying this wonderful evenings which have preceded into this show till now. And I think by and large, I think we have been able to come to yet another wonderful evening uh, with a wonderful rendezvous, yet another rendezvous with yet another subject, appealing, enchanting, mesmerizing subject, and with yet another guest, conversationalist, the brilliant conversationalist, the personality of eminence. Over the years, I have seen that this, we have been able to meander into this, what do you call it, gregarious hues of unfolding the salubrious contours and shades of our civilization. And it has been a very honest endeavor at Sheetalath Conversations, an honest quest to explore and revisit our backyards with the wonderful, first-hand, impressionable, experiential anecdotes by the people who visit and communicate and convey these anecdotes. These anecdotes, the format of the show is informally formal anecdotes. Before we start, I'd like to say that I will talk a bit about watercolor paint. Watercolor paint probably is as ancient as the human civilization. I think till the time it was earlier, till 18th century it was known as tinted paintings, and after this in Europe in 18th till 18th century, and it was also known as cave painting till it finally graduated to become an art, celebrated art in the mid of around 15th century, in the period of German Renaissance. German Renaissance. And then finally, it further went and became a piece of adorning in the drawing rooms and the murals and at other places of the people who were who are elites, who are affluent, who are well off. So that is how it is in India. I think this paint, the water paint color, is probably as old as when the Japanese came into the house of Tagore's in the early part of the 20th century, around 904, and added to their traditional Indian Bengali art and this wonderful watercolor system. In India, we can say that in Kashmir, especially now, let me come to the Kashmir. Kashmir, as has always been a place. It is an interface between the world around East and the West, and Indian subcontinent. So it has many colors of art existing into its bandwagon, into its cathedral, and it has always remained cradle of Indian civilization. And there are it has a brilliant, diversified aesthetics of different arts. Those arts can be communicated in terms of these calligraphies, in terms of statues, this sculpture art, and in terms of paintings. And we have some mentions, many mentions, probably in the treatises, in the travelogues of uh, Marco Polo, in travelogues of Abul Safi, and many people who traveled from far east, far west, and even from the European worlds. Oral Stain, and then we had the Nilmas Puran, which is the ancient mention, and there are chronicles there which are mention of the art into the which has been very base of the Kashmir. Kashmir being the crown of Indian civilization since time immemorial. So that's how it is, and we certainly feel that today is a day that we must talk. I must also tell you one thing, that during the period of Dogras, after a great big lull of those authoritarian foreign brute rulers, a period of respite had come, and it was during the Dogras the great institutions were built. It was a great respite for all people of Kashmir, irrespective of their religion, color, creed. And they created wonderful institutions where, as we have, history is the record, everything is there. It's not very far away, it's just a century back. You can see the institutions, Amar Singh College, SP College, you can see the Ranbir Penal Code, you can see all the kind of institutions were developed in Dogra's period. And I think they were pioneers probably in Pratap Singh's time, when this in 1914, when the first technical institute, Amar Singh Technical Institute, was constituted and built there in Kashmir. And it produced the galaxy of great eminent artists who became the great eminent artists and rose to the fame and eminence across the globe. So that was the role of that Emerging Technical Institute. And there were people like S.H. Raza, people like personalities, like international personalities of very, very high stature, big stature, and maestros in their work. Raza Sahab and then Percy Brown, these people had come. And in the first and foremost group of the great painters, which included Trilok Kaul, Kachru Sahab, Wali Sahab, and Wali Sahab, and many, many others, and which the story went on and on. Then we had the wonderful people like Santosh Sahab and Rajinder Kachru Sahab, and many, many people over there. I mean, who have made a name and fame out of this particular. But this all started from the Amar Singh Technical Institute. Today we are going to talk about one of the great, wonderful, celebrated painter, landscape watercolor painter, I mean, foremost, one of the most legendary painter of the 20th century, watercolor painter, landscape painter of 20th century, Pt.Dina Nath Walli Sahab. Almast he used to write because he was also a poet, and he was a great son of the soil, and Kashmir was always in his vision. Probably his paintings on Kashmir, they are ethereal. They have the celebration, harmony, ethos, and he has scattered. Probably this, in those times there was no provision for making a visual documentary, but I think if we look at the Nanath Wali Saab's paintings, we can find the entire documentation of the entire joy of Kashmir, entire life, bustle, hustle, bustle, zest of Kashmir, Kashmiri life, be it the shrines, be it the festivals, be it the shops, be it the bridges, be it the all kind of sections, waterways, the waterways, all aspects of Kashmir's landscape of 20th century has been recapitulated, recaptured by this great genius, Dinanath Wali Saab. He is a celebrated painter. Not only is he celebrated in the circles of art criticism, theater critics, and art critics, but as a art critic myself, I feel his art is basically, it has an enchantment. It is a very different enchantment. I mean, you can so it generates a joy of a very, very different order, very, very subtle order, cosmic consciousness, order of very, very higher dimension of the consciousness. And it has this indelible strength to assimilate the man, nature, and the existence. And it has exuberance of life. So such is the great work. And even if we today, people whosoever sees, whosoever witnesses Wali Saab's work, he gets mesmerized and he knows more about Kashmir. I think he is our encyclopedia, the visual encyclopedia of Kashmir, the artist, great artist. Today we are very fortunate. We have with us his wonderful son, proud son, Dr. Tej Krishen Walli Saab, who's a very, very eminent scientist of dairy nutrition from NDRI Karnal. He lives in Karnal. He's also a great painter who has been following the footsteps and lineage of Dinanath Walli. I've seen many of his paintings. Those are wonderful. Those, in a way, communicate the format and the style of his great father, Dinanath Walli. So, with that great, wonderful guest in our studio, I would like to welcome, let's all welcome him with great, warmth, with great affection and reverence to the studio. Wali Saab, you are welcome to Sheetalnath Conversation 75th show. Namaskar.
Namaskar. First of all, I would like to namaskar to all the persons who are watching me and watching this Shitalnath conversation. It's a it, Shitalnath conversation itself is a great program, and we should be highly grateful to Jugal Kaur Sahab for introducing this program. It highlights the eminent people from our community who have actually contributed significantly in the various fields, maybe art, literature, science, and other things also. And very happy and rather gratitude. I express gratitude to you for saying so good words about my late father, Dina Nath Walli, about whom we are actually making this
Yes,
program.
yes.
We're doing this program today.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you very much, Wali Saab. It's again a great pleasure to see you in the studio of Sheetalath Conversation. Wali Saab had always fascinated me since childhood, but I wanted to do some great work on him. So I thought that we are in the Sheetalath Conversations. We should have one program, rather series of program on his work. But this is whatever little and humble way what could we tribute to him, such a great genius. Uh, I remember one more couplet. तू शाहीन है परवाज है काम तेरा तेरे सामने आसमां और भी है. So, Wali Saab, once again, I would like to first of all, as per the paradigm and structure of this program goes, we normally take our guest to his childhood days, his memories of Kashmir, his nostalgia of Kashmir, like how did he live, celebrations, institutions, color. What is his feeling? What are the anecdotes that you have witnessed during your childhood? Let's listen to it. Let's let our audience witness it through your wonderful elucidation, please.
okay, well, I have spent just 16 years of my life first 16 years of my life in Kashmir. After that, I moved to NDRI Karnal, and since then to date, I'm still here living in Karnal itself.
Right.
As far as my childhood is concerned, it has not been that eventful, but still I remember some cherished experiences of my childhood life, and which I would like to say here before you.
Right.
Actually, one of those was our visits to Tulamala on this Dunga boats to perform Havan. It's happened twice. Twice we had been, and we had all the relatives with us. Some of the relatives and friends were there to go to Tulama. And those of you who have actually had the experience of going to Tulamula, they
Yes.
know that actually it's a thrill for the children especially. So as a child, it was quite thrilling experience to go by Dunga boat first to Vitasta, and then we have to enter the Tulmul Nala, which is against the current. And so it was fun that because people had to, our Jawan people had to come out and pull the boat with the ropes, and we the children also used to have a lot of fun with them. Then of course after reaching Tulamala, we had to do this bath, and again it was a fun to have that bath in that tributary which is passing through Tulamala uh, complex.
Ah, beautiful. Beautiful one.
Okay, well, the other thing which I remember vividly with excitement is our annual visit to Manigam village, our family visit. It was actually a family visit, and annually we used to go there. We used to go there in Tonga, which was hired for the whole day. It was a kind of day-long family picnic for us. After crossing Bihoma and reaching Vial, what is that
Oh,
Vial? The gushing and roaring waters of River Sindh were visible, and we could also sit there, enjoy the breathtaking view of Mount Harmok.
aha.
After crossing Wild Wild Bridge, the
Okay.
Tongawala would loose the horse from its tonga and allow it to enjoy grazing. At the same time, we also would enjoy our lunch on the banks of River Sindh, which would uh, we would bring with us. So then we would rest a while and feast our eyes with the breathtaking scenic beauty of nature which was lying before us. Then mother would also prepare tea on the makeshift stove made from, we would collect some firewood and some stones and make the tea in a way. So that was it. The next we would go to proceed towards the village Manigam.
Okay, Maniga.
Apart from apart from the temple of Mata Rupabhamani, so the Sthapana was there, the
Okay.
village had become famous due to the presence of great rishi known by the name Kashbab. He was an
Kashmir.
old man, lived like a pauper in a mud house with a thatched roof. He would talk in a way which was very feeble and hardly audible to me. But interestingly, his devotees were from both the communities who had great faith in him and would seek his blessings. Then another occasion is that a couple of occasions were there where Babuji would take me to Harvan. Soon we would be hiking on the foothills of Zabarwan Hill. There's a
Okay.
canal interestingly called Sharab Kual, which goes all
Correct.
along the upper part of Mughal Canal and it supplies water to the fountains of two gardens. We'd walk along with this canal bund and get down at Nishad Bagh. But I may tell you that from this vintage point, one can get the panoramic view of Dal Lake. In fact, Babuji had composed one of his best landscapes from this very spot, showing Shakracharya Hill and it is full reflection in the lake. And in the foreground, during some springtime, the cherry blossoms is there. So it was a composition of one of the best compositions. You have Shankaracharya, and it is reflection. And then in the foreground, in the steep, of the steep hill, it was the cherry blossoms was there. A wonderful composition.
That's so
Uh,
wonderful.
Lastly, I'm
And
tempted to tell you interesting
yes, sir.
way
Yes,
the
please.
way I was
Please continue.
initiated towards studying dairy science and to end up as a researcher with a specialization in animal nutrition.
Right, sir.
Actually, after doing my intermediate, I had been applying for admission to various professional colleges. One day, my eyes caught the attention of 202-inch ad in an Urdu weekly called Now Jivan. It was a
Navji.
complimentary copy sent to my father by the editor, and it read, "करनाल के डेयरी फार्म में दाखला 4 साल का course." I
Okay.
just casually applied for the course, was called for the interview, and by the time I reached back after attending the interview, I found a telegram. It was selected, join immediately. And I
Oh,
lost no time to join the 4-year graduate course in dairy production at National Dairy Research Institute,
oh,
Karnal.
that's so great.
So
Wonderful.
those are some of the memories which I have of my childhood up to the time I spent in Kashmir. Now
Okay.
I can,
Yes, yes. I'd like to say one thing, one question I would like to say.
yeah.
You talked about your childhood, and later on also you might have visited Kashmir. And did you talk about some celebrations, some going to the festivals or temples or places you like? Anything you remember? Or we'll pass. We'll go to the
I think
next stage.
Badamwari we had been sometimes, in springtime, we used to go there. Of course, as a child, I used to, after our examination, the children from Mohalla would go to Parbat, Hari Parbat,
Hari
and take
Parvat.
from Badiyar, we'll go and take the round Prakrama we used to have. And
Oh,
that was one of the charms. And again on Shravan Purnamashi, just in the night time,
Shankaracharya.
we used to go to Shankarachar. And in fact, I used to go with my father and spend the night there, and it was full moon, and it
Oh,
was really so charming. And to be with my father, actually, when we were with our father, our family, it was so. I mean, the way he would discuss about nature, it was so interesting, rather very exciting to be with him to enjoy nature because he all the time he was talking about nature.
mm.
So that was actually some of those experiences. So especially that night we spent at the top of the hill with my father is something memorable which I'll never forget.
Oh, that's so great. Wonderful.
Okay.
I would like to now let's move forward a bit, and I would like to know more about. Now, let's begin with your father.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
you narrated your own childhood, let's talk about. Tell us something about uh, I mean, your father and Dina Nath Walli Saab, and his childhood and his growing up years with you as a father.
Okay.
How did you see him as a father, and how were those days? Let's
Okay.
personify. Let's talk about Dina Nath Pandit Saab. Sir. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Well, my father was from Badiyar.
Hmm.
Badiyar is the mohalla which has been the hub of activities related to art, literature, and music during the most part of the last century.
Okay.
Amazingly, Badiyar has produced many stalwarts in these different areas of creative fields. And as many of us have seen recently, Avatar Mota Saab talked about the great artist late S.N. Bhatt, who was from Badiyar. And sometimes back, we also heard about the scholar, Professor Ratanlal Shant. He's from Badiyar.
Yes, Ratnal
And
Shanti.
yeah, and recently there was a news only a few days back. I heard the news that um Krishen Langu has been awarded Sangeet Natak Academy Award.
Ah, yeah.
He's
Yes,
a
yes.
music director of Gulshan
Gulshan
Gul
Gulfam. Yes.
Farm Fame. So it's heartening that even now people from Badiyar are being recognized in their own different fields of art and activities.
That's so
Uh,
wonderful.
okay. Well,
Your
my
father,
father
you told. Yeah.
had unfortunately had an unhappy childhood since he
Okay.
lost his father when he was only 1.5 years old.
Hmm.
And he and his elder brother, late Amar Chand Walli, who wrote poetry under the pen name Walli Kashmiri. Both of them were raised by the widowed mother under very trying circumstances. They were very unhappy childhood.
Okay.
Well, from his very young age, Babuji was inclined towards doing drawings and sketches. He would even make sketches of teachers in the class, and that would annoy them. But finally, they found that this boy is really, really talented one. Okay, after completing his school education, Babuji was advised to do a 3-year course, diploma course at Amar Singh Technical Institute,
Right.
which he completed with distinction.
Okay.
Perhaps it was there that he picked up the realistic, impressionistic art form of watercolor landscape. Maybe some of his teachers happened to be Britisher.
Oh, Percy Brown.
After
Yeah.
after finishing his diploma course, he developed the passion to do on-the-spot paintings. People used to go to office morning and come back, but he would go out to for off-spot wing. In fact, he would go within a radius of 20 to 25 kilometers in and around Srinagar on his bicycle, which virtually had become his mobile art studio.
Oh, that's
It
a
used to be
great.
a, it used to be a day-long program for him, and his mother would pack up the lunch in an old traditional style. That talk, but talk soon, bit than talk, and then Dajgand.
Oh,
That is
yes.
how that is how his childhood has been. As I said, it was they had difficult times. Anyway, and then of course. He,
Yes.
apart from on-spot paintings, he also did on-spot sketches also, because there were times when he could not go out and do the painting. So on those days, he would develop these pen sketches into the paintings in his house itself. When the weather was inclement and all that, so at that time they used to go for that. So he had both. He used to do on-spot painting as well as on-spot sketches also.
Tell
Well,
us. Yeah. It is said that yes. I mean, when he grew. I mean, when he completed his course, and his paintings were astounding, and they were naturally taken very well. I have heard that. I don't know whether it is before going to Calcutta or after going to Calcutta. Tell us something about his journey to Calcutta and what has added on to his art and how he developed this further. Yeah.
Well, on the advice of his art teacher at Technical Institute, he proceeded to Calcutta,
Okay.
which when he was still very young.
Hmm.
And in Mahanagar, like Calcutta, he got really lost because he was quite young. And soon he joined Alfred Theatres, which was owned by a Parsi gentleman.
Yeah.
Those were
Alfred
the
and
days.
famous one. Yeah.
Those were days when cinema was just making entry into India, and there was more value for theater, and it was a great source of entertainment for the rich people. And my father told me that Aga Hashar Kashmiri used to be
Yes.
the writer for the powerful Urdu dialogues for these plays there, in which he was working actually. Babuji also did some calendar work in Kolkata. However, all this was done for his sustenance, because it was devoid of any mental satisfaction that he would derive from these as an artist. Uh,
Okay. And he met Percy Brown there, and
Yeah, I'll tell about that. Then he
yeah.
started visiting galleries, art galleries, and group shows in Kolkata, and local artists, and in which local artists participated. Naturally, he was tempted to participate in these group shows. He had brought some paintings from Kashmir with him. Along with that, he had also pen sketches, which he converted into the full-fledged watercolor landscapes also. So finally, he decided to participate in group shows. In one such group show, he was awarded highly commended medal. The
Okay.
judge happened to be Percy Brown, the world famous architect, art historian, and art critic.
Okay.
Was also the principal Kolkata School of Arts. He showed keen interest to meet the young artist. On meeting him, an instant chord was developed between the two, and he acted like as his mentor.
Okay.
He asked him, "Hey, young man, what are you doing here in Kolkata? I advise you go back to Kashmir and paint landscape in your own way, the way you are doing, the distinct style which you have developed, that is realistic, impressionistic art, and which you have adopted. Better go and improve upon that, and but stick to your lane, stick to your own art or form, and never drift towards any other form of art." That was this mantra he had given to him as a mentor.
And I mean to say, he gave him a wonderful mantra because he was his guru. And
Yeah, yeah.
when he returned back to any more memories of Calcutta with Percy Brown you would like to share, or we'll go back to Kashmir.
No,
When he arrived back
then
to
he went.
Kashmir.
He no, that was then after he left Kolkata and came back. Heeding Percy Brown's advice, Babuji went back to the valley with a renowned vigor. He undertook visits to survey the natural beauty of the valley and to absorb it fully in his memory. He fully enjoyed the splendor of snow covered mountains, meadows, waterfalls, forests, lakes, and valleys. In fact, he totally fell in love with the beauty and grandeur of Kashmir, and thus painted the valley in all its shades, moods, colors, and seasons with a great passion. He also highlighted the village life as well as city life, which incidentally makes his paintings a period art. And as you as the time passes, there will be more and more value for his paintings, because he has actually depicted a particular period in the history
Yes.
of Kashmir.
20th century. I mean, he is the only
Absolutely.
person who has done
Yeah,
it completely, and that too through painting his landscape paintings. That is something very exceptional. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. It's going to be definitely it's going to be period paintings for the rest of the posterity.
Till the time generation our civilizations exists, it will remain there. Yeah.
Yeah. However, by then the concept, rather narrative in Kashmir with respect to art forms, had undergone a radical change. The younger generation of Kashmiri artists, mostly having their degrees from Baroda College of Arts,
And I went to the Baroda, and yes,
yeah,
went
were
to this
totally drawn towards modern art. Thus,
modern cubism. uh,
his participation in group shows in Srinagar obviously was a
abstractism.
great disappointment. But luckily, he was still in touch with his mentor, Percy Brown. Percy Brown advised him not to participate in group shows, but organize his own solo shows, since his art form is much different from the others now.
Hmm.
In fact, he accepted my father's request to do the opening ceremony of the first one-man show, which was held in Nidus Hotel, Srinagar in 1953. This grand event definitely was highly appreciated by a small number of art lovers in the valley. The admiration by public undoubtedly lifted his sagging morale.
And I heard that he was the only painter. He was the only painter who's through his wonderful paintings would live by selling his paintings. That was very unparalleled in those times. Society was yet moving out from dogmas to the another era of art appreciation. But I don't know. Can you tell us something a bit in between? Tell us something about selling his paintings. I heard that he used to go to the shikaras and meet the Europeans over there and sell his paintings for a price, and that
Okay.
helped him to living. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But uh, after watching his Srinagar exhibition, a British lady suddenly visited our house at Bariyar. I was a young kid at the time.
Okay.
She was married to an Indian brigadier, and my father addressed her as Mrs. Dalgalkar.
Dalgalkar.
After watching most of my father's paintings, she advised my father to go for one-man show at Jahangir Art Gallery, Mumbai. She rather offered to take total responsibility of organizing the exhibition. She told my father that all that he had to do was to bring his paintings to Mumbai, and the
Mm.
rest of she and her husband would take care of everything, booking the gallery, inviting chief guests, as well as inviting the national press. And
Okay.
finally, the exhibition was inaugurated by Shri S.K. Patil, the then Congress president in Maharashtra. All the major daily national dailies, both English, Hindi, covered the exhibition, and excellent reviews appeared in all these dailies by the art critics. Because of that, the art lovers of Mumbai thronged the exhibition in large numbers, and there was a huge sale of his paintings as well. So the exhibition was a great success.
Okay. So you didn't tell
Well,
me about this. You didn't tell Valsa. I want you to tell me about selling of his art. Did he sell his art? Did he made a living by selling his art? I mean, that's very unusual in those times. Yes.
yeah, actually, as I said, that he has been giving lots of exhibitions, and there was sale of paintings in all these exhibitions. You see,
Okay.
encouraged by the grand success of Mumbai exhibition, subsequently he gave few more exhibitions too. The next exhibition was held in Kolkata. Dr. Kalidas Nal, a famous historian, inaugurated that exhibition. Then there was an exhibition held at All India Fine Arts and Crafts Society, which was inaugurated by Sardar K.M. Panikar.
Okay.
And there was one more exhibition held at National Defense Academy Art Gallery at Pune by the courtesy of Brigadier Dalgalkar. Again, during all these exhibitions, he got excellent reviews by art critics in national dailies, giving him huge name and fame all at all India level. In fact, in 1955, Illustrated Weekly of India carried a feature on him and his works, An Artist in Kashmir, spread over two central pages, totally in color. And the kind of fame he received at national level through these exhibitions gave lots of satisfaction to Babuji,
Okay.
hugely compensating for the exclusion he faced in his home state. His funda about his art was very clear. He believed that his painting should have a mass appeal, and any viewer should get a pleasant feeling on seeing his painting. That's very simple.
That is
Nothing,
what. That's what.
nothing
That's what
complicated about him.
his
Very
paintings look
simple.
like. Yeah,
Very
that's what
simple.
his paintings look like. They create that kind
Absolutely.
of. It's a very good feeling, great feeling of. As I said in my opening remark, they create a great, I mean, enchanting, divine kind of a feel, bliss in everybody. I mean, witnessers, onlookers, mind,
Yeah.
and eyes. Yeah. So
Okay.
you didn't
About
tell
the
me.
sale of
I would.
paintings,
I would. I would like to say, did exhibitions, going to exhibitions, help him in developing, gaining substantial amount of money from the market,
Ye-
or it was just the beginning? He started from Srinagar while roaming around and selling his art. Tell me a bit about this aspect as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, that's true that initially it was this series of exhibitions which were held, and all his exhibitions, there was a lot of sale of these paintings.
Hmm.
So that was it.
Okay.
And am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. You are audible.
Okay.
Please, please,
I
please. Yeah.
said that. But apart
Yeah.
from that, he used to keep his paintings with houseboat owners, and
Okay.
they used to actually mostly sell his paintings and get their commission from that. That is how he
He
sold most
created a
of the
market.
paintings. Yeah, though he would visit them, and then he will say, give the paintings to them, and they will market it and take their commission. This is how he had been doing. Okay.
Okay.
Then next is about his publication
Art
of
album.
art.
Art album. He has
Yeah,
published art album. Tell us something about his art album. Yeah.
yeah. One of his most memorable exhibition was held in 1966 at All India Fine Arts and Crafts Gallery, New Delhi, which was
Okay.
inaugurated by the then chairman, Dr. M.S. Randhawa, a multifaceted personality, a botanist, an administrator, and a great art critic. It was only Dr. Randhawa who advised Babuji to publish an art album for posterity. You know why? Because most of he saw that his paintings are being sold. There's a great sale of his paintings. He himself saw that. He said, Wali Sahab, your paintings are being sold. So you should keep something so that in posterity they will say that yes, he was an artist. So you go for this art album. And the art album was published in 1970. It was Kashmir Landscapes in Watercolor. Much later, in 2000, the whole album was put on website of Kashmir Overseas Association of USA. Okay. Then in his foreword to the art album, Dr. Randhawa wrote, I quote, in his
Yes.
paintings,
Please.
Walli has successfully captured the charm of the valley and its colorful humanity. Through his paintings, one can share the joy which he felt in the tints of chinars and poplars displayed in autumn, the purity of snow in mountains in winter, and the gaiety of flowers in spring. One of his most charming paintings is that of a houseboat in moonlight. It has a
That's so.
romantic charm
That's
and haunting
beautiful.
beauty which casts a spell on the viewer.
I'd
Unquote.
put these ones in my promo of Dina Nath Walli
Oh,
Saab's paintings. It's a
oh,
beautiful,
great. Oh,
beautiful.
great. That's great. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay.
And I would like to ask one thing more. Just we'll stop a bit. I talk because I want your personal encounters about Wali Saab. I would like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say he was a cyclist. He was a nature lover, and he
Yeah.
was an artist, and he
Ah,
was many things. Let's talk about his poetry. We'll come to later because he had a pen name
yeah.
Almas.
The
But
poetry at the end, I will cover poetry at the end.
before we go to that arena, let's know about his multifaceted, because I have heard that he was a lover of music as well, and he had some.
Absolutely. In our house, we had all the musical instruments. There was
Okay.
sitar, there was sarangi, there was flute, and violin. And whenever he was feeling down, he would play violin. And
Oh, violin is a sad.
there was
It's a
there was,
beautiful.
there was
Um,
a very famous song bhajan, Heri मैं तो प्रेम दीवानी मेरा
प्रेम
दर्द
दीवानी
न जाने को, and
मेरा
that
दर्द
he
न
would
जाने.
often do on his violin itself, like that. Whenever
Oh,
he felt sad, he felt down, he would go for and do the album, this thing. Of course, all these things were there. So, though he had no time for doing all those things there, but still, whenever he got time, he would do that thing. Definitely. Yes.
okay. And
Then,
these institutions, I would like to say, I regret one thing to say. Although a personality like Dinanath Walli, his art speaks of exuberance of life, and it doesn't need anybody's recognition. It is, self-explanatory.
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
then again, I have heard nowadays there's a row over these institutions, government institutions, be it Sangeet Natak Academy, be it JK Academy. be with Padam Shri. Till Modi ji came. Before that, it had become a kind of a selling commodity. Many people got these awards. Many people got these prestiges. But a personality like Dina Nath Walli, who created an era in his paintings, enchanting through his enchanting paints, light. There is no sadness in it. Such a poignance. That man did not get any honor from the government. This is something which really hurts me.
The
Although
only
it's not
honor
very,
he got,
yeah.
the only time he got honor was Maharaja's time.
Ah,
During
yes,
Maharaja's
I heard
time,
about
he
that.
got Maharaja's gold medal. If you if
Maharaja's
you
gold.
if you happen to be through Badiyar, he had put up small board there, Dinanath Walli artist gold medalist. If you
Arey,
happen
that's
to
so
go,
wonderful. I
so
mean, it
that
was.
gold medal was from Maharaja. Maharaja's gold medal was given, but
Uh,
that was a long time back before India was free.
but
Before
his paintings will remain for centuries, millennials. I mean, people like him. Uska kya wo awards ka itna kuch nahi hota. But I was just asking
yeah,
for a curiosity's sake. His paintings
actually,
will
I get
remain, survive.
you'll be
Yeah.
surprised to know that I am getting lot of people asking, telling me they find
Yes.
out that this man he happens to be son of this thing. Then they will tell me that hey, we have got your father's painting. That comes
Okay.
very often to me. I get on my Facebook. They say that your paintings were very. It's a wonderful painting, and we're happy to meet the son of the artist. That way it is. It keeps them. Or some only recently somebody said that there was a. I have four paintings of your father. But these were
Oh,
purchased by my mother in 50s when they were in UN peacekeeping force in
okay.
Kashmir. So he had, and he said he stays in Australia, and he said I like that from different parts of the world. I'm getting this through Facebook because they realize because sometimes I also put my father's paintings also on that. So through
Yes.
that they connect and they say that oh you happen to be the son of Dina Nath Walli. Oh, we have got your painting, his paintings, and we are proud
That's
of
so good.
that. That's right.
And these connoisseurs of art, they have preserved it, and it is still near to their heart. And now it is amalgamating because of technology has taken over. But I heard that your father had some very special, unique experiences in his life, unique
Yeah.
encounters of his life. Tell us something about that.
Yeah, before that, I will just, I mean, do the after the exhibitions were over. Then after he shifted in 1982, he shifted to Karnal. He left
Okay,
Kashmir forever, and because I thought Kashmir gave him all as far as paintings was concerned, but
concept.
he was not recognized in his own home state. That of course he was always feeling bad about it, always feeling bad about it. That whole of the world is acknowledging his, recognizing his art, but in Kashmir
It
he has
happens with
nobody has tried to
sir.
recognize.
It happens with all the great people. In
Yeah.
during Ghalib's time, Ghalib was not recognized. Zok was the official courtier. I mean, all these great people, they are recognized afterwards, and they are recognized in their own vicinity. They are recognized by the world, but not by their own vicinity. That is a
So what
thumb rule of
happened?
human and human mind. Yeah.
Okay. As I said, as when he shifted to Karnal to stay with us in 1982, he continued to paint. He had again called this pen sketches were there. He used to always kept carry pen sketches with him. He most either from imagination or for pen sketches, he actually started painting again with great zeal and passion to prepare for his next exhibition, which was held in 1985 at Lalit Kala Academy Gallery, New Delhi.
Lalit Kala
As
Academy, yes.
usual, the exhibition received great review from art critics and was covered by all major dailies in the country. And one, of course, not in Kashmir, but in all India level, he has got an award. Babuji was awarded Veteran Artist Award by All India Fine Arts, in fact, All India Fine Arts and Crafts Society in 1995. Okay. So one award, national award, he has got from the academy.
Yes, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Now
okay. I mean, that's for the sake of
I'll come to that
posterity.
unique story. That
Unique
is,
experience. Yes,
yeah, it's a story also.
it's a
It so
story.
happened that I just got up in 2004. Babuji was staying with us because I got a phone call. The caller said, "It's Matthew calling from Kuwait.
Yes.
Indian ambassador Sardar Sochpawan Singh wants to talk to Pt.Dina Nath Walli, the artist." Oh, I
Okay.
said that, okay, my father is quite old. You can talk to me. Go ahead. He said, okay, so Ambassador Saab will talk to you. Then Ambassador came on the phone and he informed me that they are going to organize an exhibition of Babuji's painting here. I said, say it again. I can't believe it. That yes, what you heard, you heard correct. You heard me correctly. I said, how come we have never sent any paintings? Where from you got the paintings? He
Hmm.
said, well, here's a gentleman here, a curator, Tariq Rajab by name. He has
Tariq
collected
Rajab.
57 paintings of your father from Europe and America. Okay? And he has approached us and he wants a collaboration. He wanted to have a collaborative exhibition of the Indian Embassy and Tariq Rajab Museum. And we have actually prepared a brochure of these, all these, including the 57 miniature paintings. But all we need is the artist's message. We have been trying to search you for the last 1 month. We are trying to search you. Finally, we got success today. Today, we were able to talk to you. So please, this is our note thing. This fax address. You please send. At the time, there was fax only. He said that please send that immediately, and I did that thing. I wrote a message. I showed it to my father. He approved it. He signed it, and it was sent by fax the same within a couple of hours only. And after 2 weeks, I got two bundles of these packages. Two
Oh,
packages I got, one from Tariq Rajab and one from um, Indian ambassador.
Indian
The
ambassador. Correct.
yeah, it contained the brochures plus the comments, the press comments, which also included some foreign press people also were there. They had comment, beautiful comments by those, and they were hugely actually appreciating and also thanking me that I have been able to send the message, and because actually it was a kind of prestige issue fund, so that they were very keen that artist message should, because the artist was our. I think it's a unique thing, unparalleled in the history of art in the world, that a person who is an artist is staying in one country, and somewhere else in other country somebody else is organizing an exhibition of his painting without his being informed, rather he being informed at the last moment. So this is really something great about
I
this
think
art.
probably, yeah, probably it is because of his landscaping of Kashmir. His painting
Mhm.
is predominantly Kashmir and Kashmir in all its colors,
Absolutely
all
correct.
its dimensions.
Yeah,
So
that's
somebody who's
right.
a Kashmir lover, and the Dinanath paintings are very exuberating. They are very enchanting,
Yeah,
mesmerizing. So
yeah.
somebody would definitely, if he has the resources, he could do that. Yeah.
Then of course, uh, Babuji uh, breathed his last in 2006 at the age of 98,
98. Oh, nearing
and in
century
Karnal itself.
in Karnal.
After his demise, two of his exhibitions were organized by me posthumously. The first one
I've heard
was
about
held
that. Yeah, you do
was
paintings
held in,
also. Those paintings reflect Dinanath Walli Saab's lineage. You do. You are a
yeah,
painter also of very eminence,
yeah,
but
but
your
but this
style is
one
that of your father. Yeah.
But this was actually posthumous this exhibition of my father's painting. First one was held in Jammu in 2010 at Kala Kendra and inaugurated by Vijay Bakaya Sahab.
Bagay Saab.
And thankfully and finally, Jammu and Kashmir Cultural Academy took the responsibility of organizing this exhibition. I'm thankful to them. Finally, at least, they actually thought that it is high time
Which
that
year?
the artist
Which
should be
year?
honored by the Cultural Academy.
Which year, sir? Which year
It
was it?
was 2010 at Jammu, Kala Kendra.
2010. That
10,
must be
2010.
okay. Okay, that must be this one. Manhas. Manhas must have been secretary
Absolutely.
there.
Iqbal Manhas was the secretary.
Manhas
Actually,
was.
I'll tell you how it happened. I went to Jammu University, and for some interview as a professor. Some interview was to be held, and there I met Nazki Saab, Professor Nazki. I
Okay.
told him that my father has never been recognized in his work. कहता है, do you have the paintings? I said, yes. He said, then you bring the paintings. It's all done. Iqbal Manhas is my friend. And I will tell him and he will never say no to it.
Manaz
And
is
this
a
is
very wonderful person. Wonderful person,
wonderful person.
open-minded secretary he was. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's true. And the
Anyway, I
second,
mean, you are just saying about, yes, please
the
continue.
next exhibition was held in 2012 at Art Heritage Gallery, Triveni Kala Sangam, New Delhi. The
That's a good,
exhibition was inaugurated by Delhi's
prestigious venue.
veteran artist, art critic, late Keshav Malik. You must have heard the name, great
Arey,
man,
Krishen Walli is a
who
is
happened to be the great admirer of my father's painting as well as father's poetry because he had read the English translation of my father's poetry. So
oh.
he was a great friend of my father. But when the exhibition was held, my father was not there, and I was actually organizing this thing only.
And should we talk about now about other aspect of your father, the poet Balayapare, his
Yeah,
poetry
before
in
that, I should also tell you, I should inform you,
yeah.
you know that, but in addition that, I authored the book, come art album, Dina Nath Walli, A Passion to Portray
Yes,
Kashmir.
I have heard that there are wonderful anecdotes there. Please communicate few of the anecdotes you have written and jotted down in your book. Please, I would like our spectators will get aghast. They'll be very happy if you just correlate and communicate some of the anecdotes recorded in your book on your father. That would be very nice.
Which was actually, this book was released by Dr. Karan Singh at All India Fine Arts and Crafts Gallery, New Delhi in
Okay.
2017. And Siddharth Gigu, the famous author, wrote the foreword for this book. He also wrote
Siddharth
the,
Gigo, that teacher, that English teacher, English professor, yeah.
no, his son.
His son is a, I mean, acha, his son came there. Okay, he wrote a review. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote the review. Yeah.
I know
Right.
Siddharth Gigu is a teacher, English professor, and his son writes. He has written some novel, one novel. Acha, he writes
Yeah,
articles as well. Okay,
yeah, right.
okay.
And on this occasion, the first
Karan Singh,
Dinanath
Karan Singh
Walli,
inaugurated. This one of the
yeah,
great
Karan Singh
prestigious. Karan
inaugurated it.
Singh inaugurated. Ah, that's a
Yeah.
wonderful.
The chief
Great.
guest
That's
was
great
Karan
tribute.
Singh.
That's a great tribute.
And
Great tribute.
the author who wrote the foreword for this book. Okay, and on this occasion, the first Dinanath Walli Memorial Cash Award, instituted by All India Fine Arts and Crafts Society, was also delivered. It is for a budding artist. So a budding artist was given. Since then, every year, this award is given to the budding artist in the memory
Okay.
of my father by the All India Fine Arts and Crafts Society. So finally, at least the new generation of artists will know about that. There was a person like Dinanath Walli,
Dina
an
Nath Walli
artist.
Sahab. But Dina Nath Walli Sahab will echo into the subconscious minds of everyone from centuries to centuries because of his art, which speaks, which is organic, which interacts with the onlooker all the time.
Uh,
Yes, kindly tell us, should we, first of all, we'll talk about other aspects later. We'll first of all talk about his poetic aspect. He
yeah,
was a poet
poetry.
at par,
Yes,
Almast. What was
absolutely.
Almast all about? What was his poetry all about? Tell us something about.
Okay. Babuji's immense love for nature urged
Yeah.
him to express not only through color and words only, but also through fine word pictures woven musically in his poems. Okay?
Yes, please. Yeah. Bali Apar is one book he written. I
Yeah,
have heard
he
about Bali
published two
Apar.
books.
Bala
One was
Apar.
Bali Apar in 1955 and
Okay.
Sahrawa Posh in 1978. The latter was also published with English translation. Professor J.L.L. Cole wrote the foreword for the
All right.
English
Great man. Great
translation
man.
through
Brilliant.
his work.
Brilliant.
Now,
Paul was
I
a
will, I will
celebrity.
recite some of his verses which has written. Actually, he used to tell me that nature has been his teacher, but nature was his teacher, and nature was also his inspiration, and nature was also he considered nature like a beloved, and his
Beloved.
poetry reflects that. Like in Urdu, he wrote,
Hmm.
मैं उरियां करके छोड़ूंगा
Aha.
झलक उस हुस्न पिन्हा की मैं
Beautiful.
उरियां करके छोड़ूंगा झलक उस हुस्न पिन्हा की जभी तो खींचता हूँ रोज मैं तस्वीर जाना की जाना मीन्स जाने जाना जाने मन for nature was Janeman for him, beloved for him. So he loved nature like anything, and wrote poetry, and also made and pictures, paintings, everything in the through the inspiration he got from nature. Then there are other verses also about nature. He like Voindit में आर पालनी मरगंत यार बालनी पाइचोन पुरुष में डालनी
Ah, ha, ha, ha.
पम्पूस में तो खेलनी कल नल बचुस बनोमुत जन अख सवाल वैसिए सारान से चपरी यम मेन लाल वैसिए.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
There's another one also of the same poem. There's another verse from the same poem. Almas sunt wuch hal, and ma me tro kah bal, har mocht pir panchal, feran gom yaskal.
Yeah.
Tal deid me tap sit pud, pet nain tal vesye, saran te zapari, yimmain lal vesye. Okay.
So it narrates to the Vesier. Vesier is a, I mean, it is it is a protagonist. It is a character who he communicates with, he interacts with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Wes is nature, probably. Wes is
In
nature.
his
I
case, it
said
is yes, because for him, West was beloved. Nature was, he
nature,
considered nature is beloved because
beloved.
nature
Yeah.
has given everything to him. He taught him this painting, and it inspired him to paint both.
He was a prodigy of nature, so to say.
Yeah, absolutely. He was totally dedicated to nature, and he loved nature like anything. And in his company, we also were so, delighted to see the way he would talk about nature. When we go with him along in, some different areas in jungles and all that, he will talk about the butterflies. He'll talk about the some birds. He'll talk,
Dragonflies, birds. Yeah.
yeah, about plants and everything. He had botanical knowledge, lot of all this knowledge he had, and he knew the Kashmiri uh, this thing,
Names.
names of these particular these things and all that. And then there are two rubais which he has written for, to it's for Chinar,
Chinar.
Boon.
Boon.
Two rubais dedicated to Chinar.
Ah, wonderful.
First one is Hechun Paise Boeing Inish Belus Isar. Belus Isar means selfless service, continuous selfless service. Hechun
Nourishment.
Paise Boeing Inish Belus Isar. Ratan Tapas. The Ice Bakshan Shejar. Chirozan Pan Wandas Ninth Nangai. The Ice Bakshan Panavatran Hund Nar.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's another one on Boon only. चक पे सूंठ कुश जरदार ने यार मतलब बून वनान सूंठ कुश चक पे सूंठ कुश जरदार ने यार कुनुन दारन चोन मदरेर वजजार बशस वे बून पानस मंज रटित नार निदारन थकमितन क्युत मोन शहजार.
Ah, beautiful. What a conversation between
Yeah,
Boone and the Sotkul. Sotkul.
absolutely,
That
absolutely.
is beautiful. That's what
So
I mean. Only a person who has an elevation of thought, who has purity of thought, he can just come down to that level. Although it is satirical, but it tells about the motherliness of Boone, the
absolutely.
compassion, the higher
Yes,
metaphor of life. Yes,
right,
that's so
right.
wonderful. Yeah.
So
Any poem, any another poem you
I
want to
think
say
most of
something
the
about his
points I have
poetry?
covered. If there's anything you would like to know, but I don't know.
I would like to say one thing. I sometimes wonder these great people, whether they are from Kashmir, whether they are from any parts of the world, they have kind of a similar story. There's a deprivation, and there are many things happen. When we talk about the entire lifespan of Walisa, he was a lover of nature, and you said that he was a cyclist, he was a trucker, he used to go to Hari Parvat, and he was a musician who used to, I mean, just
He was
have
a good
violent
swimmer too. He used to swim cross, dull cross, and all that. He was
double
very
cross
good.
swimmer,
He also he had a good physique uh, during his
younger days.
child during
Socrates and
during
Socrates
his,
says this probably Socrates says that without Without swimming, man cannot become man. As Kalidas said, without music and literature, man
Yeah.
remains an animal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he had all the indelible qualities which a complete exposition of a personality should be. But depravity in the earlier part of his life, exploring himself, going to the technical institute, probably his mother inspired him to go to the technical institute. And then later on, growing years and meeting a mentor, because God sends everyone when we have an intent to do. Percy Brown. And then
Mm.
later on, the post 90 portion, when he went to your place at Karnal and stayed in Karnal for so many years. How were his times during his ending days? Was he full of jovialness, freshness as it was in the younger days? Or he was
Yes,
a disappointed? Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not disappointed. He was okay. He had he was good natured person, and he
Good
used to
natured.
walk. He used to take regular walks till he was 90. He passed at the age of 98, but till
98,
that
you said.
time he was actually doing walks, regular walks, and
And
he
no,
in night time he used to listen to music, Indian this songs, film songs.
I mean, उसी से पता
Night
लगता
time.
है जब
What was
आपने
that?
बताया
There was
when
an
you said
Urdu program. What was that Urdu program during night time? It was a regularly he would say, and that is how he used to sleep.
Tamil Irshad.
Aml Irshad. Oh, that was
That was
he
my
was so
my
fond of
favorite
that.
too. I have
He
learned
was
all
so
Urdu from there. Yeah. Tamil
yeah.
Irshad was a great program. Great. That was.
Yeah, that was actually he
And
was
he had
also,
no,
as I said, that music was in his mind. He was very fond of classical music, also very much classical.
and he had no regrets in life at
No
the end.
regrets.
No
At the
regrets. He was
end, he was
happy.
okay. No regrets because
No
he
regrets.
thought that God has given him much more than what
Everything.
he did.
And you said that he was there in the time because I know this Victoria, because I'm a theatre critic. I've been writing for theatre since last 40 years. Alfred Theatre Company and Victoria Theatre Company, they also traveled to, and he had been part of that in
Yeah, he used
Calcutta.
to travel with them to different states also.
Oh, so wonderful,
Yeah,
so
that he
wonderful.
did.
And
And
he met Aga Hassan Kashmiri, another Kashmiri, I mean, whose generations had moved from Kashmir to the Benares.
Aga Jani
And he was a,
Kashmiri also was also there. And
yeah,
he learned Urdu from those people actually. Talaffuz, especially the Urdu talaffuz. He
Talafuz.
had a very good talaffuz. When he used to
Okay.
speak Urdu, it was just like, people talk in, mostly Lucknow people talk like that.
Lucknowi, Awadhi,
Yeah.
Nawabi Urdu, refined,
Yeah, he
courteous,
had good
courteous Urdu.
talaffuz of Urdu. He had also written Urdu poetry also, but that was not on limited scale only, not much.
As a
He had
father,
also attended some mushairas in Delhi in Urdu also. That is, I think, and at some stage he was in Delhi also. धक्के partition के बाद शायद उन्होंने भी कुछ धक्के वक्के खाए थे, and he used to participate in mushairas in Delhi and reciting Urdu poetry at that time. But then he left. When he came back to Kashmir, he was only concentrating on Kashmiri poetry only.
how was he as a father to you? Because he was busy with his art, with his work. I mean, it's not an ordinary thing to paint such a wonderful entire Kashmir he was painting, and through his own expertise. But
He
how
was a
was
very
he?
good father, and he loved his children like anything. I
Okay,
have three sisters.
right.
Of course, now one is no more, but two sisters are still there. There. So he loved his children very much, encouraged them, educated them properly.
Okay.
At that time,
Took the responsibilities
even
and
my eldest sister, she did graduation at that time in 50s only. So at
right.
that time, he was very keen. In fact, as people used to say that, oh, shadi kara do, ab kya zarurat hai, college jaane ki kya zarurat hai. There were some relatives who were actually
वो
commenting.
तो
And
रहते
when
हैं
their
बहुत
time came, they actually forced people to go for higher studies and all that. But it's like that only. But he was quite good as a father. He did. He was a loving father for all his children, and
and and about social conversation with his friends and the relatives.
social conversation not much,
He was
because
preoccupied with his work.
of his this nature of his work, that dedication towards art, he was slightly cut off from society. Not much of friends and all that. He was
Okay.
totally dedicated and totally, all the time he was there only, but social interaction was not that good for him.
I
And
mean, he was a painter who started much early of the 20th century, and then
absolutely, yeah.
when the mid of the 20th century, this all revolution came. Even the Oriental concepts went there, and
Mhm.
then this Impressionism, then neo tantra geometry and other things came in, and Cubism came in, and you had S.H. Raza was there, who was there in such internationally famous personalities, and Percy Brown was there. And didn't he ever think, as a painter, that did he feel that it is the landscape and the watercolor for which he's made, or he should have ventured into the other areas as well?
No, now he was not interested in other areas. He was
Oh,
totally dedicated to particular
honest to
type of
his
art
life.
style. His
That's so
own form of art. He was satisfied with that. He never thought of changing over to other areas of art.
I mean,
Never,
yes,
never.
certainly such a delightful art.
Because
Who will like
yeah,
to go
because
out?
he used to. One is as I told that he thought that his painting should give pleasure to people for the viewers, and he also used to derive pleasure from by seeing his own paintings.
That's so wonderful. That's so
Yeah.
wonderful. As a poet, sometimes I read my poetry, I get very much enchanted, because when you start enjoying your art, your literature,
Mm,
that is
yeah,
something very. That's something very.
absolutely. Yeah.
वो
He
एक
used to.
ब्रिलियंट पर्सनालिटी, या जो आदमी का जिसका सेंसिबिलिटी सेंसिटिविटी हो वही कर सकता है.
He
एंड
has also done some portraits also. At some time, he also did portraits also, but free of cost. He used to give portraits of our relatives. Actually, most of
ओके,
us. He has. I have got
कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री.
portrait. My wife, my mother's portrait, sister's portrait, and some other near relatives. He used to call them, sit and I'll make your portrait and all that. That, but he never developed it as a profession and all that. No, he never sold his art as a portrait. He sold paintings as landscapes, but
As
not as a
landscape,
portrait artist.
not as a
Never.
portrait. Well,
But he
that's
just
so
the
wonderful.
practice.
That
It was
tells about
only
his
for doing
greatness.
practice only.
Oh, that tells about his greatness, gentleness, nobility, and his
Yeah, he was
purpose in life. Yeah,
quite gentle. He had and no qualms about other things. He was a saintly person, you can say.
saintly.
Ultimately,
Certainly, a person so enclosed and consorting with the nature would be a saintly, nothing else. And did he ever think some of his favorite own creations, or he liked everyone unequivocally? Did he find some of his paintings the best? Did he appreciate that this is my best painting and this is my best
yes,
work?
yes, yeah. He used to categorize paintings. As I said, as I said, from that this, what is that
Houseboat,
houseboat? Not only houseboat in more. That is of course one of his best. But the composition from that Zabar one, that's
Zabar.
also very good actually. It's a very unique angle from which he has painted that. It's a very wonderful composition. So some of the compositions are really he liked very much. Not all, but the category was there. That not that all is. Sometimes he used to say that it's not a good painting.
Oh,
Sometimes he used to be a
and he
he
had
could
a
make
photographic.
mistakes.
He had a photographic memory when he visualized a scenario and then he recaptured it, or he used to go to the site at location and paint.
Earlier, as I said, that he was a on-spot painting he used to do, and he never used a camera in his life. He
Oh,
never used camera. He said that my eyes are better than camera. Why should I depend on camera?
that's so wonderful. Great personality.
Yes,
His memory, his
he never.
eyes, his vision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Eyes were particular that he could get the glimpse of that thing, and
sharpness. Like,
like pen sketches were there, and then he will develop into a very good. Even in Karnal, from his imagination, from his pen sketches, he would do best paintings. It was so much ingrained in his memory by then. The whole of Kashmir was ingrained in his memory, and he could do anything, anytime, anywhere.
did he also regret this moving into the exile in 1990, leaving his wonderful, beautiful Kashmir, the land he loved so much, going into some
Actually,
another.
one is that he was getting old also,
And yeah,
and it was difficult for him to pull on. Uh,
okay.
just, he was not used to doing other things. Both problems of ghar ko sambhalna, it was very difficult for him. So he thought that it's high time that you should come here. And we said that, okay, you come here, live with us.
Oh,
So
that's
there's no regrets that he left Kashmir. No regrets.
okay. So I mean, these people are they are beyond. I mean, they go when they reach to a particular level of exhilaration, bliss. They go beyond. They become. I mean, like I can't say superhumans. They become elevated personalities. Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Wali Saab. It was nice talking to you. Any? I just want one before we go. I had asked you during this course of our conversation. You have written a book on Wali Saab, your father, and somebody told me that you had some beautiful anecdotes interspersed in that book. Can you relate a bit of it? I mean, the portion, some kind of a story, some pages, some paragraph which you really love in that particular book, which is most important depicting your father. कुछ है
Well,
ऐसा?
most of the things, main things I have covered in this particular
Talk.
discussion. I
Okay.
don't remember anything more which I can right now.
Chali. Thank you very much, Wali Saab. You came. It was a pleasure talking to you. We opened up to a beautiful. We'll have another conversation someday on another dimensions of Wali Saab. Do you ever think that his poetry, he was never known as poet, although his title was Almast. He was very few people knew that he was a poet as well. And
Yeah,
how do you parodize his poetry with his art
because
as a as a,
major
as a
part of
global?
his life was spent on painting only. He
Okay.
could not devote more time towards poetry. And
Okay.
actually, as I said, that he was not a society person. He won't move with the society. There was
He
a
moved in his
group of
own way.
people, group of artists, group of this, I mean, poets who will be. But I remember there was at one time during Bakshi Saab's time,
Okay.
there were mushairas, and Bakshi Saab was like to. He would also listen to that. He would come to that mushara. He was very fond of listening to the
Musharaza.
poets and and I know Babuji used to recite poems, and that was actually Bakshi Saab very much liked his poetry, and he used
Oh,
to give him shabash shabash. Almas Saab bahut acha, bahut acha. He used to tell him. And one more actually, just now I remember, there was one mushaira in SP College, and I also attended somehow at that time, and it was a sort of it was a something fun type of poetry he did. Mat kart machan zulf ki zolan dilbaro. Mat kart machan zulf ki zolan dilbaro. Zulf means this.
yeah, I understand. A lock
Yeah,
affair.
lock of hair. Don't actually. If we zulfi ki zolan dilbaro. It's difficult to express it. There. So what happened? I was there, and he said, "Mat kart machan zulf ki zolan dilbaro." Then he said like this. He had a bald here. He said, "Almas sin par saaf tha madan dilbaro." And the whole hall, there was a standing ovation for him for that. There was so much
That was a
laughter.
humor, sense of humor.
Almas sin par
Wonderful.
saaf tha madan. He did
A
like
person,
this. Saaf tha madan.
a person who can laugh on himself. That's he's a great person. Like Khushwant Singh said once,
Yeah,
that there is.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is something very great about him.
This I
And
heard just.
thank you very much. We had a wonderful time, and we're talking about Almas Sahab, Dinanath Walli Sahab, Pandit Dinanath Walli Sahab, the great native of Kashmir, the great Indian painter of 20th century, who will always be known through his paints from the centuries following. Thank you very much, Wali Sahab. You came. It was pleasure talking to you. My best wishes to you. Shabba
In
khair.
fact,
Good
in
night.
fact, I must thank you for inviting me to talk about my father. That's something great for me. A
Oh, you
most
hope you.
memorable day for me.
Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed every bit of it. Thanks a lot. Best
Thank you.
wishes. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
So that was Wali Sahab, Tej Kishan Wali Sahab, son of the legendary Indian painter, watercolor painter, landscape watercolor painter, a proud native of Kashmir, whose entire subject revolved about the Kashmir. and he created a particular era of Kashmir, which may not be available in the chronicles on the books, but through his landscape, you can just unravel this complete era of 20th century Kashmir in its folk, in its nature, in its color, in its shrines, in his rows, in his signs, in the shops, arcades, bridges, and all kind of things, all kind of signs around in the valley which he had shown, he shows through his paintings, and his paintings are fabulous, enchanting, and wonderful. So that was a wonderful session. I think you must all be enjoying. I have enjoyed it a lot. I would like to close this session of today's, and I'm really thankful that you all came, all the admirers, adorers, followers of Shidalath Conversations. It's always great because your coming creates the energy, and your coming keeps this show alive. And we go on and on, looking back to our backyards, the sunshine, the great people, their works, the culture, the atmosphere, the treatises, the travelogues, all kind of things about Kashmir, the great land of India, the cathedral, the crown of India. It's a time immemorially. So thank you very much. And before I close this program, I would like to say, मंजिल मिलेगी भटक कर ही सही, मंजिल मिलेगी भटक कर ही सही, गुमराह तो वो है जो घर से निकले ही नहीं. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Pleasure talking to you.